Arjuna's dilemma for me personally is a really challenging one to try and make sense of. On one hand, he has his duty, and that is as a soldier, as a leader, he's got to go and win the battle. But on the other hand, performing that duty means killing his family and friends. Now, as a non-Indian, fundamentally that's a really challenging one to understand, but I also understand that from an Indian perspective, or more specifically a Hindu perspective, the belief in reincarnation is almost like it doesn't matter because people never die, or their souls don't die, they just get recycled. When I was first being coached, my coach Annie, so I was probably late 20s, she spoke a lot about the amygdala or the amygdala, depending on where you come from and how you're meant to pronounce it. And she spoke to me about amygdala was actually about gut feel, that we might not remember all of the details about something, but that our gut almost stores that condensed memory. And so that's why we should trust our gut with things if we're struggling to make sense, because maybe our gut is recalling memories we can't quite remember and giving us a sense of what the right thing to do is. So gut feel was about amygdala. Gut feel was about going with our guts, and going with our guts is about sort of those historical lessons where we maybe forgotten the lesson, but we remember maybe what the right decision is. It's a tricky one to comprehend, right? Decision paralysis, I get it, but there's two really simple things to do. The first is work out what is noise. Just get back to, these are the facts, these are the things that I can make sense of and make a decision about. So that's the first one, work out what the facts are. The second one is, what's the right thing to do? And I think often where there's a tension is when we kind of know what we should do, or we know what the right thing to do is, but on the other hand, maybe that's going to be the harder decision to make. And often the hardest decision to make is the right one. From my personal perspective, if anything, people feel as though I make decisions too quickly. But I think from being self-employed for half of my life and needing to make those decisions, that sometimes making a decision was better than making a non-decision, because a non-decision is still a decision. And I always worked on the premise of, well, if I'm in this situation and I'm making a decision, and acting upon that decision is going to put me in a better place than where I am now, that's actually a better decision to make than where I am at the moment. And in those really tricky moments, it's really important to remember that every decision is a double-edged sword. There is always a cause and an effect or a reaction to whatever the decision we make is. And good and bad is really hard to work through, because everything has a pro and a con of the decision we make. We might feel it's great, but we might be making a decision that has a negative impact on someone else. And it's important to remember that from an absolutes perspective, only the dark side deals in absolutes.